Morning, campers. It's finally cold enough for me to sit outside in the cafe without anybody interrupting me. So, this morning, I was looking at all the kids going to school in their uniforms. So this message today is really for anybody that's at school under the age of 18, anywhere in the Western world, or anywhere really, I suppose. I've not been to every country in the world, but definitely in the Western world. Firstly, you need to understand, kids, that you are, and you were born, a genius. The whole school system is designed to stop you thinking that. And I also want to tell you that you're capable of doing anything at all in this life, because you're a genius and because you're a human being, and human beings are fractals of God, which means you are an ultimate creator. The system would have you think otherwise. So, how do I know this and how did I get to these conclusions? Well, I'm 55 years old, firstly, so I've been around the block. When I was at school, and I'm a council house kid from Northamptonshire, by the way, little pot-bellied council house kid. Nobody took me that seriously in terms of my aspirations at all. When I sat down with a careers officer when I was 16, I think, he had a clipboard there. Mr. Lomax was his name. If you're watching this, Mr. Lomax. Anyway, he said, "What do you want to do, Mark?" And I went through a list of the things that he had in his clipboard. And I said, "Oh, that's all very interesting, sir, but I'm going to be a pilot in the RAF." And he literally went, no. Anyway, there's this factory down the road that I think you should work at, Mark. And I went, "No, you don't understand. I'm going to be a pilot in the RAF." In fact, by that point, I'd already flown a glider solo. And within 6 months of that meeting, I'd already done basically private pilot's license training. Because I'd found a way to get flying for free through bursaries and scholarships and things like that. My parents couldn't afford to teach me how to fly. And I did. I got into the RAF and I became a pilot under training. I left the RAF, but that's another story. It was my choice, not theirs. And this reminded me of a story I heard the other day, because my own eldest son was not happy at school. It wasn't serving him. He was not enjoying it. He was getting political lectures in maths classes and physics classes from woke teachers that were there to push agendas and to control their minds, not to teach them anything useful. In fact, everything they teach you at school is nonsense. One of the things I say to my children, I've got 5 children, by the way, every single day is question everything, including this. Have a great day in prison, because that's what it is. And remember, everything they're teaching you is bullshit, and you're going to have to unlearn it and relearn the truth about the world once you leave this indoctrination camp. And some people watching this may think, "Oh, that's such an irresponsible father." No, that's a responsible father whose children have gone to school simply because they want to socialize with their friends. And that is very important, socialization. I also started 2 schools in Morocco for my own children and for other children. And the lack of socialization was the big problem. And when COVID hit, I tried to have meetings with other parents here in the west of Ireland to say, look, school is not serving these children. They're making them wear masks. They're in the schools in the west of Ireland, they were leaving the windows wide open in winter and not allowing them to put coats on. They were freezing them. It was child abuse. The schools were committing child abuse. This was no surprise to me because I am aware of the fact that schools are deliberately there to create mind control, to get you to think that you are less than anybody else or as low as the lowest person in the class. And also, the same schools here that were doing that 3 years ago, now have a couple of kids, well, this school here has a couple of kids in class in the school that are allowed to identify as cats. Seriously? The schools allow children to identify as pets. That's mental illness. They're not just encouraging it, they're supporting it. because the teachers are indoctrinated and brainwashed as well. They're the most brainwashed in society. Not all of them. Some of them are good. You know, I'm not slagging off all teachers. It's the system that's the problem. And the system is there to make you feel like you've got to go to university to get more indoctrination. Then you've got to get a job. I mean, most kids come out of university 50 grand in debt. That's no way to start your life, in debt. And then you go and get a job to pay that debt. And then you fall in love, get married, get a mortgage. And then you get a mortgage. Do you know what the word mortgage means in French? Mort, gage, death, grip. The system is not your friend. There's 2 videos. If you have never watched them, go and watch them. One is a song by Pink Floyd from 1979. Why should I listen to a song from the old days? Well, just go, trust me, go and listen to it. It's called Another Brick in the Wall. That was number 1 when I was 10 years old. That was back in the day before they controlled the entire music industry. Second one is a video by Sir Ken Robinson. Now, Ken Robinson is passed on now, but on the TED channel, he did a video called Do Schools Kill Creativity? What Sir Ken says in that is not what I would call perfection, but when I first watched that video, it blew my mind, because he was absolutely right on the money about the fact that schools do kill creativity. They do call your overactivity or genius ADHD now, and then they try to medicate you, or they put you in a stupid class, or in another kind of class. It's insane what they do to you, and I beg of you to have the courage to stand in your own truth, to educate yourself, to take responsibility for your own education about the things that interest you. The exams that they put you under so much pressure to pass are completely meaningless pieces of paper, and they're really just rubber stamps from the system saying this person has been indoctrinated, they should be ready to go and man the machinery, but not to ask too many questions. That's what that's all about. So I hope you have the courage to do that. And the story that triggered this for me was that there's an amazing kid that I know of who's very entrepreneurial and is making money at the age of 15, being good at something that they are. I'm not going to mention who they are or anything, but it's an inspiring story. I've not actually met this kid, but he was at a school where he's also very good at a sport, right? A team sport. And the PE teacher actually said to him, "Can you stop scoring so many goals, please, because you're embarrassing the other children?" Oh, when I heard this, I literally couldn't believe it. Well, I can, because I know how crazy the world is, but, you know, there's still a part of me that hopes that we live in the same world, but we don't. And he wasn't very happy about this. And he was like, well, hang on, you're suppressing my creativity, you're suppressing my genius, really. He might not have used those terms, but that's really what was going on. He wasn't very happy about it, so much so that the PE teacher sent him to the headmaster, and the headmaster ranted at him, going on about the fact that if he dropped out of school, he'd come to nothing, he would be a complete failure in life. That's bullshit, by the way. And this kid turns around and said, what about this other kid who dropped out a couple of years ago, who's probably going to earn more money than you next year, and he's only 20? Apparently that really pissed him off. And that's part of your job as a young human being on this planet, because we need you. We need you to look into the truth about how the world really works, because the world is not run in your favor. And I'm not saying leave school necessarily, but I'm saying be aware of what's actually happening at school, and be aware of the meaninglessness of what they're teaching you, and find your passion, find the thing that you're interested in, and don't waste a minute going and pursuing that. Don't wait for your parents or for the school system or for the system itself to spoon feed you anything, because it's not going to give you the things that you need to equip you for life. And us old bastards are relying upon you because you're the future. So I hope this message finds you, and that you go and at least watch those 2 videos and start taking responsibility for your own education and your own future without debt, and following your bliss, your happiness, your genius, because that's what you are, a genius. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. God bless you.